It's time for some straight talk. The big wireless companies charge a boatload for their superior network coverage. But guess what? Straight Talk uses the same cell towers but charges a lot less. Who knew? Well, now you do. And I do. So let's do something. It's time to switch to Straight Talk. Unlimited plans start as low as $35 a month on America's largest, most dependable networks. Straight Talk Wireless. Only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. A month equals 30 days. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
Jackson 5 welcoming us in on Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We're getting closer and closer to Christmas. Trey Wingo, Mike Golic, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We got Joe Thomas coming up in just a little bit. We're really excited to talk to him.
Mm-hmm. It's been a great holiday week for us, and there has been a lot of holiday food talk. I do my eyes light up a bit when we do talk about holiday food.
How dare you say that?
To which Zev tweeted in, I just want someone to love me the way Golic loves holiday food. Yeah, so I understand, Zev. I do love me some holiday food, and someday I'm sure you'll find that love of your life that loves you as much as I love my holiday food.
You do love your holiday food. You know what I also love? Figuring out what's trending. That's the sounder that Jared made for us.
That's it. And that's the one we picked.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right? Yeah.
So let's get something big and important. Vince McMahon sold $100 million worth of his WWE stock to help fund a sports-focused company. Now, the speculation is that McMahon might try his hand at another professional sports league. You remember, he tried the XFL.
Yes, he did.
A joint venture between the WWE and the NBC that debuted in 2001. It lasted all of one season as WWE and NBC lost approximately $35 million each after taxes.
You know, I started with the ratings being down in the NFL. Maybe they're looking for their chance to say, maybe we can capitalize on this and make an entertaining show and or game that people will turn to instead of if the NFL ratings continue to drop. I don't know.
By the way, I just want to point out, I love the fact that both of us had to suppress a burp in the first 3 minutes of this segment. I did, and then you just followed up very nicely as we're talking like
too much eating in the break. You know, college football is as popular as ever.
Yep.
The NFL, I understand the ratings are down some, but the ratings are still better than everybody else's, the other sports. I don't know if this will work again. And one of the reasons, I mean, what do you fix from last time? Do you feel you have to do something differently to last only a year? Obviously, it failed. And I think one of the things they want to bring back is the entertainment of it and the big hits. I think a lot of people feel that's missing from football now with all the rules. The only problem is, a lot has changed from that time.
Yes.
In what we've learned, where I still do think people like big hits, but they're not received like they were because people are starting to see some of the after effects from them. So what used to be, oh, God, I can't wait for this big hit is now, oh, man, I hope they're okay. So I don't know if that part of it is going to be as exciting to people and a mass level to make a whole league sustain itself as they might think. While I understand they can do some things to make it more entertaining and fun, less flags, let the players play a little more, you know, to make it more enjoyable that way. I think that was a big part of it, the physicality of it, which I don't know if it plays to people as much as it did then.
Well, remember, that's how they started the game. They put the ball down and two guys took a running start and scrum for the ball. And one of the games, the guy separated his shoulder diving for the ball. Look, hey, if you want to try it, go for it. I'm not sure it's going to work. And like you said, the climate has changed and how we perceive the big hits has changed. But one thing will never change. Hearing this. That was Vince McMahon.
You know, I love the effort. Listen,
it was great.
Pro wrestling,
Rod Smart.
WWE, I mean, it's monstrous. The pro wrestling is huge, so you just tried to mix the two. Didn't work. Trying it again, I have my doubts, but hey, who knows? You never know.
Well, look, some people, you know, I used to do a draft thing every year up at the Patriots, a pre-draft sort of festivity to get the season ticket holders excited. We would go up there. I'd go up there with Teddy or Field Yates would go up there with me. And Gronk came out one time, and this guy stood up jacked in a Patriots jersey. You know, he was all about the Patriots. And he's like, well, how do you? He asked Gronk, you know, what do you think the NFL's gotten too soft with all these rules? Blah 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 blah. And he was ready for Gronk to say, yeah, it's too soft. Gronk looked at him and said, dude, every day after a Sunday, I feel like I've been in a car crash.
Yep.
So, no, I don't think the NFL is too soft. So the idea that some fans think the NFL is too soft is now in many ways, I get Mike Mitchell's rant of the Steelers
right.
a few weeks ago, but most players that play would tell you, hey man, the hits are enough.
Yeah.
So is there an appetite for the fans?
For some, I think there is. For some, I think
will
there is.
Will that be enough to sustain something like this a second time around? I'm not so sure.
I don't think it will be.
Hey, but you know what? Go for it. More football
sure.
we can talk, the more football we can talk. You know who we want to talk to with football now?
Who?
An American hero. A legend.
An American hero.
He is. How many consecutive snaps did you play without injury?
Not 10,000. Not more than.
There it is.
There's a double-edged sword to this because... Now, again, I knew more about Joe because, when I said my daughter Sydney worked for the Browns last year and did a lot with Joe and his wife and the foundation they have, and got to know him a little bit and what a great family they are. And you'd see Joe's and his personality to hear it. Unfortunately, and I say it in this way, we've gotten to see it a lot more.
Right.
And that's because he's not playing. I'd rather him be on the field, keep going with that streak. But, man, his time away has really got him out there on social media more. And that personality out there, and what a great personality it is for everybody.
I think he'd much rather be preparing for the game against the Bears than talking to us, but he chose to talk to us, and we're delighted to welcome in Joe Thomas now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Joe, thanks for being with us. Lots to get to with you, but first and foremost, is this the weekend? Is it going to happen for the Browns? Because the Bears are 0-7 when they've been favored with John Fox as their head coach.
I like our chances. I'm feeling very confident going into this weekend. I think this is a great opportunity for us. We've practiced well this week, and why not on Christmas Eve doing it again like we did last year?
But I would have to say, Joe, knowing you and how upbeat you are, don't you say that every week? I mean, in all honesty, that is the player credo every week, isn't it? I mean, that you plan on winning every single week, correct?
Yes. Yes, you have to. As a pro football player, as a competitor, you have to go into every week and you have to convince yourself you're going to win by the time you get to Sunday.
And that has to be difficult. I mean, look, I would not wish 0-16 on my worst enemy. And I mean that sincerely. When my son was playing middle league football, they went 0-8 once, and it almost destroyed him. So I can't imagine, what goes through these guys' minds. And how would you sort of relate to people that don't understand the struggle and what, not only from a physical standpoint, Joe, but from a mental standpoint, to know that, you started 0-14 last year, you turned it around, you started 0-14 again this year, to keep telling yourself, hey, we can do this. We can get ourselves in a place mentally where we feel like we can win.
Well, I think first and foremost, it's your job. It's what you get paid to do, so you just have to get into that right mindset. But it is extremely tough when you don't get that payoff on Sunday and you don't get that victory because you work all week, you convince yourself you're going to win, you convince yourself you got a chance to win, and you feel like you're prepared and you go out and you lose on Sunday and it keeps happening. It's really tough to continue to put in that work, to continue to buy in throughout the week, but that's one thing I can give Hugh Jackson and the guys a lot of credit for is they've done a great job throughout this, even though we have had so much losing. They've really done a great job preparing each week like it's its own week, forgetting about the record. Don't worry about it. Let's just focus on our opponent on Sunday and put our best foot forward and do whatever we can to give ourselves the best chance to win.
Joe Thomas with us here on Golic and Wingo. Again, starting left tackle for many, many years for the Cleveland Browns, out with a torn tricep injury, which ended his streak of 10,000-plus straight snaps played, which is ridiculous. But as you're listening to him be so positive, I just want people to understand, in his career, Joe Thomas has played in 167 games. The Browns had a losing record entering 124 of them.
Yeah.
So when you hear this relentless positivity, just understand the circumstances in which it's being issued for.
Definitely keeps you going. Obviously, 10-time Pro Bowler, 7-time first-team All-Pro. Actually, when he was in college, qualified in 04 and 05 for the shot put and discus throw, and first ballot Hall of Famer whenever he decides to stop playing the game of football. And on that note, let's talk about you for a minute. I know you love to talk about team. That's the kind of guy you are. How has this been for you? This is the first time you haven't been playing while the season's going on. Mm-hmm. How has it been for you, not only physically, because you see injuries and you know how to repair them and you know how to rehab them. How about mentally for you? How has this been?
Well, it's been up and down. There's, times where I really enjoy it. I enjoy taking a step back, spending more time with my family. I enjoy being able to spend a little bit more time coaching some of the guys in the team, specifically the tackles, the defensive ends. giving them some of my knowledge. I've really enjoyed that side of things. But then, of course, when you're standing on the sidelines on Sunday and you have that feeling like you could be out there helping your team, or, you see the guys, how much fun they're having when they come off the field. Those are the tough moments when you really feel like you wish you could be out there, and there's that feeling that, you're really missing the game and missing being out there with the other guys. So there is ups and downs. It's sort of a roller coaster, but I've been trying to make the most of it.
Well, you certainly have, and we've enjoyed sort of following you on social media, seeing you much more active with obviously a little more time on your hands. And, for some unfortunate circumstances all the way around, the Carolina Panthers will be up for sale. And you've laid forth a very detailed plan here on what you would do if you could become the owner of the Carolina Panthers, along with P. Diddy. Among the highlights, Diddy would be in charge of halftime shows, shareholders in charge of the team, brats instead of hot dogs, not signing a punter because your team would go for it on every fourth down. Have you been really working on this master plan on what you would do if you owned a team for a long time?
Yeah, myself, my partners, and my attorneys have really been working hard behind the scenes to come up with a foolproof plan. You call it detail, I call it foolproof, to make sure that this is a reality for the people of Carolina and really all NFL football fans. I think we can create a cutting-edge game day environment. One of the most important things you left out was the monkeys shooting money cannons during the game.
I apologize. That's on me. I want to own that. Yeah. That's on me.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Wingo. The whole T-shirt shooting out of cannons thing is so passe. I think we really need to move into the new age and shoot money out of cannons with monkeys. So, there's a lot of exciting things for fans, and I think it's easy to get behind my plan. You can see it on my Twitter at JoeThomas73.
Now, obviously, there's a little sarcasm and humor there, just a little. But I'm all in for the monkey shooting the T-shirt cans. Yeah. I want to be clear. But is there a part of you, Joe, that in the future wants to be a part of an ownership? I know that Peyton Manning has talked about that in the past.
Well, certainly being an NFL owner has been very profitable and exciting for a lot of people for the last, 30 or 40 years. So if I ever had the opportunity to seriously get involved in an ownership group, I definitely would consider it.
With football players, a lot of it is when they're done, depending on what they go to next. And I would imagine you would have a ton of options whenever you're done. Hopefully that's long down the road. There are some that love to still be in sports or love to be done with the sport altogether and move on to something else. Which do you think you would be whenever you decide to be done? Something that's still involved in the sport, I don't know if it's coaching, ownership, GMing, whatever, or completely out of a sport?
Well, that's a good question. I still have a big passion for football. Whenever I decide to hang up the cleats, I've been doing this since I was 12 years old. And so really my entire life has been training to be something in football, whether it was a player for a lot of years or, maybe a front office or coach or who knows. But, you have this unique training and this unique skill set that very few people in the world have. And it'd be kind of a shame to just totally put that aside and not do anything in the sports world. So I'm not sure exactly what I would do when I do decide to retire, but certainly I'm trying to keep all my options open and not rush into anything.
Well, listen, as football fans, and especially, Mike's son played college on offensive line. My son played college offensive line. We want you to continue to go out there and do your thing on the field as long as possible. And, we were sort of joking about it off the top that you say that every week that, hey, we believe we have a chance to win. But as we said, the Browns the Bears are 0-7 when John Fox as their head coach as they're favored. Hugh Jackson has won twice on Christmas Eve as a head coach. So trends are certainly in your favor. And when you guys finally won, Joe, last year, I remember your post-game comments. You think, I think I'm celebrating this a little too much as it's only our first win. What would it mean for this team, this city, which has been so downtrodden really since even before you got there in the 2007 draft with what's happened since they've come back into the league, for them not to join the Detroit Lions as the only 0-16 teams in NFL history?
Well, I think for the guys in the team right now, we're trying not to think about 0-16 because I think that can be a little bit overwhelming. But just to be able to get a win and to be able to get a payoff for the work that's been done this season, I think would mean a lot. You saw the emotion that I had last year with Hugh when we beat the San Diego Chargers at the time on Christmas Eve. And it's hard for people to understand when you win a meaningless game like something like this towards the end of the season. what it feels like. But winning is so hard in the NFL that when you don't get it for so long, you don't get to taste that, and you finally do get to taste that. It's sort of an overwhelming emotional experience, and it's really hard to explain unless you've been through it.
Well, listen, you beat the Chargers so bad that they were so humiliated they had to leave San Diego. I mean, that's what they were like. We can't go back to San Diego now. That's what that meant.
All right, a couple more football. Then I want to get into some Christmas stuff. Josh Gordon is back on the team again. He's got himself a few chances, and you really hope from a life standpoint he turns things around. But there's no denying the talent on the field. How has that been? Not so much on the field, but in the locker room and just Josh Gordon back in the football life.
Well, it's been great. I think with Josh, his issue has never been in the locker room or on the field. He's always been a great teammate. He's always been a phenomenal football player. His issue was when he went home. And so hopefully if he's able to get that in check and to take care of himself the way he needs to, really the sky's the limit for him because, like I mentioned, people have always loved being around Josh Gordon in the locker room. They've always loved playing with him on Sundays. And really, the sky is the limit for him. I mean, there's been very few players as talented as him in the history of the league. And so if he can keep himself on the straight and narrow, the NFL has a star in their hands.
And a general question about a serious topic in the NFL. And when you started in the game, it was still treated differently. Forgetting even back to when I was in it, where you were in it, it was different to now in concussions on the field. And we just saw Seattle got fined $100,000 for the concussion protocol. We're still waiting to see what happens with the Texans and the Tom Savage situation. From your standpoint, how do you think the NFL is dealing with that now with the independent spotters and you pull a guy out of the game and how they're treating concussions and when you can go back, just how that's evolved through your career?
Well, I think they've done a better job than they have, and they're trying, but there are still some things I don't understand, like what happened with Tom Savage. I don't understand if you have an independent neurologist who's watching the game, how that the player does not get removed from the game. I mean, that's just impossible to understand, except for if you just say that he wasn't watching. And really, that should be a bad excuse, and somebody should really be fired for that because that's unacceptable. But I think that KJ Wright came out with a good comment the other day where he said, if you're diagnosed with a concussion, you should have to miss at least one game. And I think a lot of teams are moving that direction, but I think there's some teams with their concussion protocol, it still is not really fully in the best interest of the players. And you are seeing guys sometimes come back, 5-6 days after they've had a serious concussion.
Well, it's interesting you say that because we were having this discussion, Joe, before you came on the air. You pay 53 players, yet only 46 are active for a game. And if we're going to be, taking a guy out for a concussion, which I think might be the right thing to do for the next week, why are we having inactives? Why has it ever been explained to you why they're inactives? It seems to me if you're cutting 53 game checks, everyone should be available.
Well, that's one thing I've never really understood, and I try to understand the rules of the game pretty well, and it doesn't make sense why you even have any inactives. I don't know. Nobody's been able to tell me why.
We are going to try and get to the bottom of that because we all have just kind of accepted it. And Trey brought that up. It was the first, cognizant thought that he's had
in a month.
Quite honestly, since we started the show. All right, let's get to the real questions to Christmas. Whether it was when you were a kid growing up or now, were you a Christmas Eve present opener or a Christmas Day present opener?
So we always got spoiled because with Christmas Eve, we would open presents with my grandparents. They would come over for Christmas Eve dinner. And then Christmas morning, we'd get Santa's gifts and then anything from my parents. So we actually got like a half and half, which was pretty cool for kids. There was like 24 hours of pandemonium.
Gotta like that a lot. How about, again, whether kid or now, real tree, fake tree?
I've always been a real tree guy.
So we both used to be real tree guys. We used to be, but then we were told fake tree.
Yeah, I dried out too many trees, made them fire hazards for the kids, and I was told no more real trees. How about Christmas Day traditions? Did you have any of those growing up or now?
Growing up, it was just, the kids would wake up as early as they wanted, but they weren't allowed to wake the adults till 7 a.m. And then we would just open toys and just hang out as a family at the house. So nothing crazy, but it was fun. We always just kept Christmas Day, Christmas morning pretty small.
So the kids, you could get up early, but you couldn't open any presents until 7 o'clock when the parents got woken up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
The kids would wake up at 4:30, and we'd have every single present organized by pile. All right, this is for mom, this is for dad, this is for, baby brother, this is for baby sister. Shake them, touch them, do anything you want, but you can't start opening until 7 a.m.
I love that.
I remember that. We had that rule as well. Hey, Joe, we really appreciate you being with us. I hope someday you are an owner, because I think you'd be an awesome owner in the NFL. But more importantly, I can't wait to seeing you back on the field, and as Jeff Saturday says, sitting them down every once in a while. So we appreciate you being with us, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Hey, everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Hey girl, have you done something new with your scales? Using new moisturizer? Nice. It really brings out the hazel in your eyes. Oh, hold on. Are you using whitening strips too? Your fangs look good, girl. Really good.
A really charming snake charmer? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Wait, what? Have you been doing Pilates too?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
We're going into the dark side.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're walking into the dark side. If you're watching us on ESPN2, you notice that we have a third person in the room.
An elf.
Yeah.
We have an elf.
We have the bad Santa elf. He's looking like a bad Santa elf today. Bubba is with us.
We're back.
You ready?
What's up? Yeah, give me that open, please.
Give me that open. He's calling his shots now. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
It's time for another edition of Love It or Shove It.
That didn't go well.
With Golic and Wingo.
All right.
Good open.
Yeah, it is a good open.
I like the elf outfit. You look good.
Yeah.
He's a mean elf.
Thank you. Yeah.
He's an angry elf.
Yeah, he's an angry elf. That's it. Yeah.
Looking good, yeah.
I think
you guys look all right, I guess.
Yeah, thanks.
This is all him.
Yeah.
My sweater.
Blinking
For those of you
lights
that not watching on ESPN2, I am wearing a green Christmas sweater that has ornaments and candy canes and lots of lights that blink.
Blinking lights, and I have a Santor sweater
I
on.
just like saying that word, by the way, Santor.
That's Centaur, the half man, half animals, half Santa, half horse, and a buffed Santa at that.
He is
kind of like me.
Yeah. Okay, then.
Yeah, like looking in the mirror.
Absolutely sure. All right, so we ready to start a Christmas edition of Love It or Shove It?
I'm ready. Yep, got some Christmas questions for you.
Okay.
If you could only celebrate one, you'd rather celebrate Christmas than your birthday. Love it or shove it?
Oh, without question. I love that. I would much rather celebrate Christmas than my birthday. Listen, birthday's 21, very cool. It's obviously a big, big one. What's the next big one after that? 50? I did that a few years ago, and quite honestly, it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Okay? So is it 60 the next one? I don't know. But
it's when can you retire? What's the age?
Yeah. 21 to me, and I'm good. Christmas, give it to me every year. I absolutely, positively love that one.
I will have to agree with you here because at a certain point, birthdays become depressing.
They do.
It's like, really? I don't feel that old. I don't think I'm that old, but I am that old.
Yes.
So I'm all in on Love It. I would go Christmas all the way there.
Trying to hit something?
I don't know. They told me to look at something on the board.
All right.
Something blue.
55! Yeah, that was it. That wasn't worth it at all, Stanzik.
It wasn't
good
worth
effort, though.
It was
Actually,
terrible.
it wasn't really
that
an
was
effort.
terrible.
It was a horrible effort.
Thanks for ruining
horrible.
Love It or Shove It.
Wow, horrible
Just
effort.
awful.
Horrible.
Right. Cole.
That may have
Shove
ruined the entire segment.
Yeah, I might just go.
Stanzik's call on that, Love It or Shove It, shove it.
I apologize to you for what Stanzik just did. Let's try and regroup. Go ahead.
See. NBA Christmas is better than NFL Thanksgiving. Love it or shove it?
I'm going to have to shove it. I love the NBA and watching it, but I'm a football guy, so I'm still going to sit around. I like watching football. I like eating my Thanksgiving dinner, going laying on the couch, unbuckling the top button so my stomach can grow, putting some dessert on my chest, eat it while I'm laying down and watch football. I'm still that guy. So I'm going to shove that one and still say football.
Well, let me be clear. I think the NBA Christmas games on ESPN and ABC are awesome.
I know you do.
I think they're fantastic.
I know you do.
I hope tons of people watch it.
I know you do.
I'm shoving this so hard.
Yeah.
Well, I am all about Thanksgiving Day football. Sit there, relax, watch all 3 games, and get you geared up for the postseason push. Because the difference is Thanksgiving Day football is all about, we're into the meat of the schedule.
Right.
We got December games and then the playoffs. NBA Christmas is like, oh, the season's starting. That's the difference for me. So they're great games and they're entertaining. I'm all in on Thanksgiving Day football.
All right.
You open at least one present on Christmas Eve. Love it or shove it.
I do love that. We did that when I was a kid. Open one on Christmas Eve. So I like that. It's a little, you whet the appetite a little bit. And I think, quite honestly, it helps kids go to bed. They got to open one thing, because if you don't, you have all this anticipation. Now I can't go to sleep. So open one thing, enjoy it, then calm a little bit because you got to open it, go to bed, and then wake up Christmas morning. So I am all for opening at least one present on Christmas Eve. I love it.
I'm going to say I love it, too. In fact, my parents, when we were growing up, took it one step further. We had something called Christmas Eve gift, and the first person to yell Christmas Eve gift on Christmas Eve got an extra Christmas present.
Oh.
So, and it got to the point where we were all living in different places. Literally, we would call each other up at midnight, and sometimes people would forget why we're calling, and we'd just yell Christmas Eve gift. As soon as you could say it on the phone, that means you got the bonus gift. So not only do you open one gift on Christmas Eve, if you were at 12:00 a.m. on December 24th, the first one to yell Christmas Eve gift, you got an extra gift.
Bonus gift is always good.
Bonus gift is always good, so I'm all love it on that one.
Wow. Right. Sounds like a real wild time at the Wingo house.
That's about as crazy as
Who can call close to midnight, huh? Woo, booze it up.
Happy
Office
times.
Secret Santas. Love it or shove it.
I probably shove this one. I don't need any extra, okay? Christmas is enough.
Wait a minute, you just said bonus gift, you're in favor of it, and now you say you don't need these 2 points seem to be incongruous.
No. For the family, when you got to start doing the office and this and buying extra gifts for this and for that, it starts to get cumbersome. Now,
so you don't like the stash.
So now I feel like you're just buying to buy. You know what? I'd rather bring in some
Do you not
food.
know what Christmas is?
Yeah.
I mean, do you not know that like 20% of the retail year is all about buying
I know,
stuff?
But I don't like to buying.
I feel like we're missing a concept here.
I got to get something here. It's not to me. It loses the spirit of it a little bit. I'd rather bring in some nice grub for everybody and let them enjoy that than everybody have to try and figure out a gift. So I shove the Office Secret Santa. How about you?
I don't know where to go with this. It just seems
well,
like,
you either love it or you shove it.
I'm trying to figure out how you
Doesn't
got
get
to
the
where
game.
you were logically on this point.
I told you logically, it's extra. It's too much. It's
Which,
too
by
much
the way,
thinking.
was his argument against me when I say putting up all those decorations was too much, and it was too much effort. So you seem to be undermining your own points here.
I don't agree with that.
So I will go love it just because you said shove it.
Oh, so that's what you're doing.
Pretty
now.
much. Well, they told me radio is conflict, so we got to be a little conflict here.
Okay, there you go.
I think we stunned Bubba into silence on that one.
I just love my my fonting here. I don't know if you guys notice on TV, but Bubba Peregrine, talent.
Yeah.
So
it should say elf.
Just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Should say angry elf.
Yeah, just keep that in mind. Talent.
Say the word no.
I shoved that talent reference, by the way.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Christmas is better when it snows. Love it or shove it.
Wow. Better when it snows. Listen, I basically have almost lived my entire life from growing up in Cleveland to playing most of my career in Philadelphia to now living in Connecticut in cold weather in a place where it snows, and you deal with it. But given my druthers, I would have no problem it being somewhere where it's 75 and sunny on Christmas. It's still Christmas to me. I have no problem with that at all. So Christmas is better when it snows. I'll shove it and say I can take Christmas with snow. I can take it with sunshine. To me, it's not better because it's snowing.
Well, look, I will take Christmas any way it comes,
Yes.
even if it's 48 degrees and pouring rain. But to me, a little Christmas Eve snow, a little magic. You wake up in the morning, there's white stuff. Now, it can melt in 7 seconds, and I'm fine with that.
Just so
I
you
want to be
see it,
clear, but just so it's there. And we had a blizzard here, I think, in 2003 here in Connecticut, and there was like a foot of snow on Christmas. That was awesome. And we had a bunch of my extended family members over for that, nephews, nieces, my parents, my sister, they were all here. So, yeah, I'll say Christmas is better when it snows, especially since I'm a skier. Our whole family likes to ski.
Right.
And by the way, they're getting like 10-plus inches in Vermont right now, which
there
is
you
amazing. So I will absolutely say I will love it. Christmas is better when it snows.
So is that all you have?
That's it.
All right.
Whoa. You got some notes.
I have a question.
Oh, jeez.
I have a love it or shove it question.
All right.
Okay. And this is for you, Bubba, to answer.
I understand how it works.
Okay.
Good, because he didn't seem to apparently a couple of times.
This segment with Cliff reading the love it or shove it questions is better Love it or shove it.
I'm going to have to shove that one.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, he's an inexperienced board op. I
Right.
can't imagine.
Wow.
I can't imagine how good he would be on the air.
He's been the
He
star of
barely
the
can
show
keep
for
us on
4
the
weeks.
air.
He's been the star of the show for 4
Yeah,
weeks.
well, that
with his
says a lot
music.
about the show.
That's
Good
also
job,
true.
guys.
That's
Cliff,
also
what do you
true.
have to say to that? Do you think you could do this love it or
Can you
What?
say it?
this bad segment that I'm doing
Well,
now?
first, can you learn how to speak?
No.
Second, it wouldn't be big shoes to fill. So I'm positive I could take over that segment.
Team Cliff.
Positive.
Team
Wow.
Cliff.
Unbelievable.
Former board op, now board op. I mean, what is this? Is this the clashing? Isn't he supposed to be learning at your knee or something like
he
that?
Can't
or-
learn. I'm too good. He can't learn. He doesn't
Wow.
know. You know, there's a lot of logistics.
Yeah.
Got to
But
fade up, fade down.
I think, by the way,
Turn
you've
a mic on.
I think you've summed this up perfectly. Current board op, former board op, all listeners and viewers just bored with how this segment sort
Bored.
of petered out.
so real quick for you, Christmas tradition? In the Bubba
Not
household?
much. Really, it's sort of Christmas, but the most important thing we got going on right now is the 12th annual Avon Festivus Beer Pong Tournament coming up this weekend.
Oh,
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, so we
Nice.
celebrate Festivus,
Right.
which is actually
That's
Saturday.
Saturday,
Yeah,
right,
the 23rd, and we're having the beer pong tournament. I'm a 4-time champ. No big deal.
4 out of 12 you've
Yeah.
won.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty
you're,
impressive.
you're,
yeah.
so you're in the Baseball Hall of Fame. You're batting
Yeah,
.333.
so,
Do you air
I'm hoping
for-
to make it 5.
For the Festivus before this tournament, do you air your grievances?
Sometimes, yeah.
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 You seem to be a guy that is always airing
Yeah,
grievances.
I know. It's
Wait,
really.
hold on. We have something else, Cliff?
Bubba, you still play beer pong beyond high school?
Oh, we play. Yeah, we play. Hey, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, that was a shot, I
Yeah.
think. That was.
This guy. Someone fed him that line.
This guy.
Someone fed him that line.
By the way, we have confirmed with our sales staff that Love It or Shove It will be back in the new year.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
Congratulations.
We'll be here.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Granger.
There you go.
Great job, Granger.
Well done. That's getting
That's
it done.
Love It or Shove It with me, Cliff, not you.
Well, it's something you said. That's Love It or Shove It with me, Cliff.
Oh,
Is what
my
that sort of
gosh.
sounds like.
Speaking of traditions,
Yeah.
should I come over Christmas Eve, Christmas Day? What do you want? What should we do?
Flag Day.
Well,
We'll see
okay.
we'll see on Flag Day.
Yeah,
And-
just
and-
tell ND Mom, tell G-Town Mom I'm
Yeah.
coming over. It'll be great.
We've moved.
Yeah.
So
We
Really?
don't
Yeah.
live here anymore.
No.
We're in the witness protection
we're
program.
in the process of moving. We don't have a home right now.
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, we are actually not these people.
Yeah.
We're not who we say we are, and we have to go. Bubba, thanks very much.
Thanks,
All right, hey,
Coming
we'll
up,
see you next year. Granger.
absolutely. See you on Flag Day.
Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel and a touch of coriander. It's a creative twist on a Belgian-style wheat ale for a taste that shines brighter. Taste responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Bills at Patriots, coverage starting at noon Eastern. Bills, they're still in this thing right now, the 6th seed. Finish up with the Patriots and then the Dolphins. Patriots looking to obviously to cap off another successful season. But there is that little, Rob Gronkowski thing.
Yeah.
Where the cheap shot on Gronkowski against the Bills and got suspended for the game. And now back there playing again. So there's the retaliation as opposed to we need this win. Now, they don't have to be, in my eyes, don't have to be mutually exclusive. You can still try and get a big bop on Rob if you want to. Legally, let's hope, of course, even though his was cheap and illegally done. But the one thing, you don't want to make that the focus and not the winning the game as a focus because in macro, that's way more the important thing we obviously know.
Well, look, the Bills have the longest playoff drought, not only in the NFL, in all 4 major professional sports. It's going to be hard for them to get into the postseason if they don't beat the Patriots.
Right.
And even if they win out, they may not make it into the postseason because of conference records and common opponents and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to be taken seriously, all you can be thinking about is trying to beat the Patriots.
That's exactly
That's
right.
it. I mean, this has been a long-suffering fan base that has been around and been very loyal for a lot of years. They had those glory years in the 90s when they went to 4 straight Super Bowls, lost all 4 straight Super Bowls. Again, I think that's one of the most underappreciated records and streaks in the history of the game, to have the mental fortitude to go back. And by the way, almost every beating was worse than the last one. It started 20-19, then it was 37-24, then it was 52-17, and then it was 30-13 in the last one against the Cowboys. What made that one worse is they were actually leading 13-6 at the half, and they got outscored 24-0 in the second half. So, look, focus on the task at hand. I get it. You're angry, and you have a right to be with what happened. But if you're Buffalo, man, put all your energy in finding a way to doing something that no one really thinks you can do outside of you and your coaching staff and your fans. Take down the Patriots in Foxborough.
Serves your purpose a whole lot more. We've been
Absolutely.
asking all morning as we get ready to end the show, and then Trey and I will be back on
Trey.
on
Trey.
New Year's Day.
Yes.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. So New Year's Eve will be short-lived for us.
Yes, it will. We're doing a lot of traditions for Christmas. Corey says homegrown beef brisket during Christmas Day, homemade hot donuts with strawberries on top, and a drizzle of homemade maple syrup. A lot of homemade stuff.
I was about to say, the effort that's going into that meal, I applaud.
That
There's
is
a lot of homemade stuff
very
there.
proud. We've been getting a lot of Christmas traditions, so let's go behind the glass. Devin, starting with you, your Christmas tradition, Devin.
So we keep it pretty traditional, but the one thing we will do before dinner is a shot of Jameson with the family.
There you go.
Wow.
Like that.
Oh,
Keep
I like
it
that
loose
a
in the
lot.
Devin household. And the amazing thing, they did this when they were 6.
Now, how about
kids.
it? Yeah.
So, very impressive.
I'd probably go with Fireball, but, that's,
either way,
that's kind of just
Jameson's
me.
a little more stout.
Yeah, it is. It'll leave that burn a little more with you.
Keep you warmer a little later. Cliff, what about you?
What do you got?
Normally we hit the Christmas mass. We'll open presents before mass, though, but recent years, obviously, my sisters and I, we all grown up now, so we're lucky if we just get together for Christmas anyway. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, you think you're grown up. I'm trying not to ever grow up.
Don't ever grow up, Cliff.
It's a trap. Don't ever grow up, Cliff. It's a trap.
Highly overrated.
We got to get Hembo in here. Ma Hemba Ketis. What's your tradition?
So my father is from Lebanon, as in the country that borders Syria and Israel.
Yes.
My mother is from Toledo, as in the city that is in Ohio. So our worlds kind of collide on Christmas.
Isn't there a Lebanon, Ohio, though? I think there is a Lebanon, Ohio.
I think there is.
He is from Beirut, Lebanon.
Yes, I got you.
All right.
Either way, in Lebanon, the tradition is to celebrate Christmas and open gifts on Christmas Eve, do a big dinner with the immediate family, and then do Christmas Day with your extended family. So we kind of combine. We do a big Christmas Eve dinner at home. You're allowed to then open one present, and then we do the traditional American
thing. Do you get to pick your present?
We get to choose the one from under the tree that we want on the 24th.
Okay.
But do you ever choose the one you think might be the big one, or do you want to hold that off until Christmas morning?
You always choose the largest one on Christmas Eve when you're a kid because you can't help yourself.
Wow.
You can't help yourself.
That's surprising.
Stanzik,
what do you got?
Not that exciting. We have 7 different kinds of fish for dinner on Christmas Eve. It's an Italian thing, even though we're not Italian.
7 different kinds of fish.
Fish?
Correct.
All right.
I used to just make myself a tuna sandwich.
Okay.
That would be one.
And that would incorporate all different kinds of fish in the tuna sandwich?
No, just the tuna.
All right.
That's one.
I got to say, that's one of the strangest traditions I've ever heard.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, we open presents and we have a good time. That's about
We
it.
try to, if the whole family's together, we try and do a Christmas Day movie. Go to the movie and try and do that. I think we're going to go see Jumanji, I believe.
Well, hey, go see that. All right, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
For all of us, you that have been listening to us and watching us, we appreciate it. We'll be back after the first of the year. A reminder, the final edition of the Russillo Show today at 1 o'clock on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Scott Van Pelt will be there. Chris Long will be there. And a very special guest that Ryan doesn't know will be there as well. So make sure you join in with Ryan one last time. Hey, big guy.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
You too. Let's
do it again.
Have a great holiday.
Merry
Christmas.
We're lighting up. There we go.
Windows blinking.
There we go.
Merry Christmas, everyone.